They say every place has a story, a past buried beneath the surface, something forgotten or something hidden. But some places don't stay buried. Some stories rot, they spread, they grow, like an orchard. Welcome to the Orchard of Bones. Here we dig into the stories most people won't touch, the unexplained, the unsettling, the cases that were never meant to make sense. From forgotten crimes to strange phenomena to the moments where reality itself seems to slip. Everything we talk about here leaves something behind. So if you're listening, you're already standing in the orchard. Let's begin. On a cold, snowy night in late March 1922, something terrible happened deep in the Bavarian countryside. It was a massacre so brutal? It was a massacre so brutal and inexplicable that it continues to haunt true crime circles over a century later. On a lonely farmstead known as the Hinterkaifeck, 6 people, a family, were slaughtered with a mattock, which is kind of like a hoe if it had a baby with a pickaxe. This wasn't just another rural tragedy. It was a quiet, methodical, and deeply unsettling home invasion where the killer didn't flee after the act, they stayed. The Hinterkaifeck Murders refers to the killing of 6 inhabitants of a remote farmstead roughly 70 kilometers north of Munich in southern Germany. The victims included the elder couple Andreas and Kazilla Gruber, their widowed daughter Victoria Gabrielle, her children Kazilla, which is 7 years old, and Josef, 2 years old, and the newly hired maid Maria Baumgartner, I think I said that right, who had arrived at the farm just hours before her death. The most chilling aspect of this case isn't just the murders themselves, but the events leading up to them. For months, the farm's previous maid had claimed the house was haunted, reporting strange noises in the attic and feeling of being watched. Just days before the massacre, Andreas found a mysterious newspaper he hadn't purchased and discovered footprints in the snow leading from the woods directly to his door, but there was no footprints leading away. Authorities remained baffled because of the bizarre behavior of the perpetrator. Evidence suggests that after murdering the family, the killer lived in the house for at least 3 days. During this time, they prepared meals in the kitchen, lit fires in the hearth, and even fed the livestock. All the while, the bodies of the Grubers lay cold, stacked in the barn, but oddly enough, covered in a blanket of hay. The autopsy of the 7-year-old revealed a horrific detail. She did not die instantly. She had survived for several hours after the attack and had torn out clumps of her own hair in distress while laying in the hay next to her deceased family. When police searched the attic, they found signs that someone had been living there, like food scraps, disturbed hay, and even roof tiles that had been removed so the occupant could watch the family below. And strangely enough, the murder weapon wasn't found during the initial search. It was only discovered a year later, hidden in the attic when the farmhouse had been torn down. The theory of the killer's profile was, while dozens of the suspects were questioned over the decades, a few primary theories had emerged, and despite a significant amount of money and valuables being left in plain sight, nothing was stolen, suggesting the motive was personal and psychological rather than financial. Now, here's some of the suspects. The vengeful neighbor, which was Lorenz Schlottenbar. I think that's how you say that. I'm not good on my German. A neighbor and former lover of Victoria, which was the wife, was the first to discover the bodies. Witnesses noted his unnerving calmness at the scene and his ability to unlock doors that others found barred and inaccessible. So he was able to just get into places that no one else knew where the key was or even how to get open, which is very strange.
Yeah, it's a little strange.
Yeah, like how would you know to get in there? Like I'd say that's a pretty good suspect.
To me, that makes it sound like he either had copies or had, some way of picking said lock or knew a trick to it. Because we all have
just comfortable with those doors and those locks because
You've been there so often.
Yeah,
That's
you do
true.
something enough, you're going to be able to do it.
But that
Yeah,
was
it's
going to be
very
my
weird.
next point. Is we all have a door or a lock of some kind that we know the special trick to.
It's just like people.
I mean, if you're hiding in the attic and you're going down there while they're at work or whatever, and you're able to get through the house, you're gonna know how to get in.
Exactly.
Just like people with certain cars, they somebody can't start them, but another person can.
Yeah.
I've had a few of those.
Yeah, me too. Guns. I've saw guns the same way.
Yeah. I
Don't
mean,
know how to get it to load.
some doors you just gotta jiggle the key a little bit to get it to work right.
Yeah, you
Well,
gotta
not
hold your
only
tongue the
that,
right way.
Not only that, one thing that, because I am familiar with this case from listening to previous coverings of it, but one thing to me that stands out is what they were saying about his unnerving calmness and how he was the one who found them.
Yeah.
Which, again, this is just my opinion.
Yeah, usually when somebody is the one that done it, they're usually pretty calm about it.
Well, and especially if he was that close with the family, if you're close with somebody at all and, you find one person you love deceased, you're going to be in shambles, much less an entire family that you're close to.
Especially if it's like a neighbor.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, here's another one. The dead husband. Now, there was a speculation that persisted that Victoria's husband, Carl Gabriel, had not actually died in World War I as reported, but had returned in a jealous rage to find Victoria had a new child, Joseph, with a new man.
I mean, that is possible. The records of, soldiers and stuff that had, gone missing or were deceased, they weren't, as precise as they are nowadays. They could have saw him and thought that he was somebody else, or maybe just the records weren't that great.
They definitely didn't have good record keeping back then either.
I mean,
Exactly.
even nowadays, it's not that great. There's a lot of hit and miss.
Yeah,
And
but
then
back then it was even worse.
Back then, they didn't actually. They wouldn't even have a body, and they'd be like, "Oh, this person's not been seen for a little bit, so he's probably dead."
Yeah.
Especially during World War I. I mean, a lot of the times with that, I mean, there was a lot of cases where there was, obviously war crimes, and, there was entire bodies that just turned to paste or putty.
I mean, that's most of World War I was the reason why the Geneva Convention was made anyway.
Exactly.
Well,
And a fun fact about that, Canada is the reason why a bunch of stuff is on that list. Because Canada, they were devious back then.
They were all jacked up
no
on...
hate to Canadians. We,
Well, they got jacked up on
But
a little bit too much maple syrup. But
Yeah, there were some, there's good and bad in everybody, of course. And
I mean, they
were
did some pretty bad
some
things.
unsavory
like,
people back then. Yeah.
What was it? One thing was they kept, I think it was like they kept throwing food to the Germans.
Oh.
Cans. And
I didn't know about that. That's crazy.
They kept throwing it and kept throwing it. And then eventually they would put, I think it was they put like grenades in it.
Mm-hmm.
So when the Germans would go to pick them up, it would.
They gained their trust. And
Whoa.
Yeah, they were like, oh yeah, you get some food. Nope, here's a grenade.
Well, and kind
I
of.
ain't quite sure if that's. I remember it was something like that. I don't know if it was grenades or something. They did something.
probably more likely like some sort of like landmine.
Oh yeah, it was pretty bad. I believe it was the food though. I think it was they were throwing them food, and then they tricked them into getting
Some sort of explosive.
Yeah.
That sucks.
I'm sorry, I can hold that in.
It's
Well,
okay.
And, going back a little bit to your point earlier, a lot of times back then, if somebody was missing in action, they wouldn't, I guess, go to as great of lengths to, I guess, relay that to the family. They'd just be like, well, they're missing, they're dead,
Yeah. Now, there's another one on here as a possible, like, theory for a killer. It says the family annihilator. Modern investigators often point to Andreas Gruber himself, the father, which is Victoria's new husband. He was known for his violent temper and a history of documented incest with his own daughter.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. It says some believe he even snapped and killed his family before an outside party. or perhaps his own injuries caught up to him.
That theory is not entirely out for me because, I mean, and again, this is just speculation, not even anywhere near fact. But if he obviously there was documented incest between him and his daughter. What if, and again, what if, this is not a fact, what if she found out she was pregnant?
Oh.
And that would have opened an entire can of worms. It would have made them look horrible to the community. It would have, obviously that's another mouth to feed to a family that was already struggling from, different things I've read. And not only that, just the shame around that, her being unwed and it being her father. That particular theory to me could be plausible. But do we know exactly how he died? Was it the same way?
That's what I'm looking. I typed this out and I was looking to. I don't remember if he was laying with the rest of the family in the barn or not.
Because I don't think he. My only catch on that is I don't think he could have necessarily taken himself out with that hoe.
And also stack himself on the pile of bodies and cover himself with hay. It just doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. He couldn't stack himself on the bodies, cover himself with hay, or dispose of the weapon that killed him.
Also, it does...
Unless somebody else came along and found it and then did it.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't...
That's very...
But also, Andreas himself, he's the one that discovered the footprints in the snow leading to the house.
Mm-hmm.
He's also the one that discovered that there was a newspaper on the porch that no one in the family subscribed to, that they didn't pay for. So which that's all speculation. I don't know if he died with the family or if he was found afterwards. Because the person had stayed in the house for probably 3 to 4 days after the fact of killing the entire family.
Yeah. Well, in the paper thing, maybe that was a red herring to kind of throw people off. Maybe he was trying to set up some sort of story about somebody stalking them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Could have been something like that. Or, who knows, maybe it is the family annihilator situation. And he did kill the rest of his family. And maybe, oh boy, what was his name?
Andreas?
No.
Oh, her ex-husband that possibly died or didn't die in World War One. What are you talking about?
The neighbor, was it?
Oh, the neighbor? Yeah, the vengeful neighbor. Lorenz.
Lorenz.
Yeah.
Maybe he stumbled upon him killing his entire family and he finished him off. We don't know.
The forensic obstacles, the investigation was plagued by failures that basically make solving it today impossible. The entire scene was contaminated. Before the police arrived, dozens of the neighbors had already walked through the house, moved the bodies, and even eaten the killer's leftover food that was laying out, essentially destroying any chance of finding usable fingerprints or tracks. It says lost evidence also. In a weird turn, the victims' heads were sent to Munich for examination by clairvoyants, which I don't know why you'd send them to clairvoyants if it's from the police. It makes it really weird.
Nowadays, I feel like that has been largely disproven. Obviously, there are some real ones out there, but back then, I think because they were lacking, DNA and all that stuff, they were probably just going with what they thought would maybe help.
It was in the 1920s. That's not that far ago.
No.
That was about 100 years ago.
That's
a little weird to think about, but it also says the skulls were later lost during the chaos of World War II. So any hope of modern forensic retesting is just flushed down the toilet.
Yeah, it's gone.
There's no way that they could do anything now, unless they randomly have some sort of files on it, but they still can't do any DNA testing now.
Well, not only that...
The person that did it's going to be held accountable after that. Anyways.
There's no way they could be alive anyways.
Yeah, not only that, though, the way that they handled, or I should say didn't handle the crime scene, even if they would have had every DNA test at their disposal, the fact that they didn't lock it down and not let anybody in there just ruined everything. Because, when you're letting anybody and everybody in there, fingerprints, whatever, it doesn't matter what was there, it's contaminated now because, you know, little Barbara up the road could have come in and touched the table or, you know, whatever. And it just ruins everything.
I mean, so this happened in Munich, which is like southern Germany, or is north of Munich, so southern Germany. I mean, Austria is right across the border. And what happened in World War One and World War Two? The Nazis. So I mean, they had other things on their mind as well.
World
Yeah.
War II, and Nazis started like 1930s.
Oh yeah, fair. So I mean, I guess
Probably like actually I think it was either 1930s or like early or late 1920s, like 19.
Because World War Two ended in 45, didn't it?
I believe so, yeah. I think it was 45.
World War II ended in 45.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay.
Yeah.
My World War One history is not honestly the best, but I know a little bit about World War Two. But I guess my math was off on that with the Nazis. But I mean, there was still some like tension around in the area around whenever the skulls got lost because of the chaos of World War Two. But also it says modern consensus in 2007. The German Police Academy students used modern profiling on the case files. They reached a unanimous conclusion on a prime suspect, but refused to name them out of respect for their living descendants. So they didn't want to say anything just out of respect, even though their family member murdered 6 people, including 2 kids.
I mean, wouldn't you want to know that?
I mean,
at least contact the family and be like, look, we think it's your family member that did this.
Right.
Mean, if one of my family members did that, I would want to know.
Yeah, and I mean,
hell, you could even put it out there in the media and be like, hey, this is the person that did it. And it doesn't mean that I'm, going to support those people or, like, agree with anything that they did. And if people wanted to come to me about it, it's like, I wasn't the one that did it. It's that said family member. I mean, some people might actually like the fact that, hey, there's some sick people out there. They'll be like, hey, my family member did this horrific thing. And
can I get your signature?
yeah.
I mean, as serious as this is, I mean, everyone deals with stuff differently.
Yeah, like the actual, like, there's a huge market for like serial killer merchandise or like memorabilia of like, hey, I mean, look at the people that like bought Gacy's paintings and like other stuff that's been related to these murders. Well, I mean, it's messed up. I mean, but it happens.
It reminds me of Tool's song Vicarious because people, as soon as they see something bad, they want to see it up close and they want all the details, which I understand human curiosity. Obviously, we're starting this podcast now. I listen to, true crime podcasts for 10 hours a day at work every day. So I get it. But when it comes to an actual crime scene, you need to back off,
Oh, yeah.
But kind of...
I mean, going, like you said, the whole Tool thing. Like they said, I need to watch things die for a good safe distance.
Yeah. And these people didn't watch for a good safe distance. They didn't take Tool's advice in 1920, whatever.
They definitely just walked wherever the hell they wanted.
Yeah. I did want to mention, though, because, you were talking about, war conflicts and stuff. Even though, of course, all the Nazi stuff, even though that was later, they did have some major conflicts and violent events, like, around that time period. Like, from 1919 to, 1929. The Ruhr Crisis, I don't know if I said that right, I'm sorry. They had, unpaid reparations and stuff, so French and Belgian troops occupied Germany's industrial heartland.
Oh.
And it prompted passive resistance strikes by workers, and it led to, a lot of violence.
Okay.
So there was that. There was paramilitary violence. That was in the early 1920s. Saw constant fighting between, armed political groups, communist insurgents, the Freikorps. I don't know if I said that right, but which, ex-soldiers.
Yeah.
but that was during the Ruhr Uprising. Again, I'm sorry if I said that wrong.
Because, let's see, I want to bring it back to music. Because, like, was it Rammstein, Deutschland?
Yeah.
It shows, the video for that shows all of, like, the crazy things that's happened in Germany. And it shows the stuff that was, or, like, scenes of what, happened in, like, the 20s and everything with all the...
Yeah, there was a lot going on, which, I think adds to what you were saying about they had a lot of other stuff on their mind that maybe took away from, I guess the urgency of figuring this particular case out. Because, that wasn't even all. They had the cap push, or I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Forgive me, y'all. The beer hall push, that was 1923. And then just in general, internal political warfare. They had a lot going on then that was putting a lot of strain on everything.
That's why the Nazis were able to come in and do what they did.
Just do a full sweep. I do have a little bit of a theory with this. So, it's out there. But with everything paramilitary and conflict issues in the area and all that, I feel as if there was possibly a person that got injured or was on the run or something and decided to take refuge in someone's house, possibly,
maybe without them knowing.
Yep. And then maybe they had the crazy idea, because it's on a farm. I would say they most likely had pigs.
Yeah.
And everyone knows pigs will eat anything but the teeth.
Yes.
And if they're covered in hay or straw, whatever, most likely, I think it said hay, is what I typed out, that maybe they stacked them up and was hoping to feed them to pigs, get them going, and maybe take over the home.
See, I do remember actually hearing a theory very similar to that, about, the hay and the pigs and everything. Because, and I could be misremembering this, so bear with me. But I think maybe at some point I might have heard something where somebody was talking about, like, years later they found maybe teeth. Again, I could be thinking of a different case, but I feel that feels so familiar.
You have the problem of you've listened to so many things about.
I know. I've listened to thousands of different cases over several podcasts, but I feel like I vaguely remember something being mentioned about the pigs though, and that exactly what you were saying.
Yeah.
But again, I could be wrong.
Now, I did a couple hours of research to get, some basic facts. I didn't go into, like, full deep dive into this. I really think that's my main theory, honestly, is that they were going to definitely try and feed them to the pigs, take over the home, and basically try and integrate themselves into that little community and just claim that the family moved on or moved somewhere and sold them the house.
Yeah, that's fair.
But,
Which,
the one thing that would suck about that is there's going to be somebody that's going to be like, hey, where's some documentation that you got sold this house?
This was
it's
also the
1920s.
1920s, yeah.
In 1920s they still did deeds and stuff, though.
But if the deed was in the
Munich?
house.
Yeah, on farmland?
I don't know, maybe.
I don't know if they really kept deeds for farmland back there.
Well, and to your point, though, if the deed was in the house, they could have forged it. Because, it's not like there were electronic records like there are now.
Or, like, official stamps or anything like that
now. Yeah, exactly.
Which I don't... it's 1920s. It's not like it's, like, the 1730s or something like that. Even back in the day, with, like King Louis and stuff like that, they still had seals and stuff like that and wax seals. So, I guess that makes sense on your conflict on that.
Yeah, okay, so that theory honestly kind of brings me back to her husband, the one that was MIA.
Yeah.
That kind of makes me feel like it could have maybe been him, because what if he came back, saw that she had moved on because she presumed he was dead.
It was like, hell no, this guy's not living in my house.
Yeah, it pissed him clean off, and he decided to take everybody out and
is this your kid?
Yeah, feed them to the pigs, and then be like, you know what? They moved on. Because if nobody knew him specifically as her husband, that wouldn't necessarily be suspicious. He could just be like, well, they sold me the house and they left.
Well, get this also. It could be, if it was, her ex that possibly died but didn't. What if he originally owned that house with her. He died. She inherited the house, got remarried, and the guy moved in with her.
That's
So
true.
if he would have killed them, his name could have still been on the deed.
Yeah, that is very true. I didn't.
And
think
he didn't
about
have to.
that.
He didn't have to forge anything.
That's very true.
Yeah, it's still messed up though, because his kids, right, too got killed.
Yes, one child was his. I think it was the older, the 7-year-old. Yeah, is the little girl Kazila. Yosef was the 2-year-old. So it was 5 years between the two children.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's messed up. That
But
people do it all the time.
I would say, yeah, I mean, as horrible as it is, people do that all the time, and it's horrific. But also, what if he wasn't planning on killing his own child, but then his child saw him killing the rest of them, and he was like, well, if this kid saw this, they can go tell on me, and I'll be executed.
Wait a minute.
Right.
So wasn't she the one that was alive, though?
Kazila?
Yeah,
she was the one that was ripping her own hair out.
So
that was laying beside the family.
What if he was doing it and accidentally hit her or something?
Now, did she have, like, blows to her as far as, like, the mattock and everything?
Let me use this as reference.
If they found her, deceased, maybe she found them after the fact, and it traumatized her so much she couldn't handle it, and the stress and ripping her hair out and stuff. Maybe that's what killed her. If she didn't have,
she survived for several hours after the attack, so that means she was attacked with the mattock.
Okay.
And had torn out clumps of her own hair in distress while laying in the hay next to her family. So her family had already died. She was laying beside of them, and she had already been attacked, and she was ripping her own hair out while laying there. So I'd say she was probably bleeding, like almost bleeding out.
So what if
But it was for several hours, though.
So what if the new husband was attacked? They were killing the family. The old husband came back, saw that.
So it's a double whammy on that.
Yeah, and he took him out, and then thought his actual daughter was.
That's
dead,
a crazy theory.
And put her out there with the family until he could have done something about it.
Depending on where he was stationed or had to go to the front lines in World War One, I could see it taking 5 years to try and get back home after being in enemy territory.
And it wasn't so easy to travel back then. There wasn't as,
he could have gotten lost and been in enemy territory. The war ended, didn't know about it, and was trying to find a way back home, didn't know where to go.
Well, and kind of lending to the theory of it being him, in some instances, of course, whenever you see a family member kill, like, or a person kill, like, their child or something, sometimes they want it to be quick so they don't suffer, but sometimes they will, I guess, attack, I wouldn't say less brutally, because obviously that's brutal regardless, but
they would hesitate.
Yeah, the hesitation, and maybe that's why she lived longer, because he wasn't able to bring himself to
that is a big possibility.
Attack her fully, or maybe he attacked her and it knocked her unconscious, and he thought she was dead, and then she woke up later and started pulling her hair out
while he was gone and realized that her whole family was dead.
Yeah,
I could see that's a really that's a compelling theory,
because a 7-year-old getting hit with a mattock, it would knock them unconscious. Realistically, maybe he just thought she was dead.
Got hit with a mattock, it's gonna knock me unconscious.
Anybody getting hit with a mattock is gonna knock them out. Yeah,
whenever you're holding a mattock, it's got like a pickaxe side on one end, and then like a long, curved, like almost hoe-like head. Imagine if you're swinging that kind of like a bat, almost trying to strike someone. If it curves a little bit, you're getting the metal sides, which would be like a bat with a weight on the end of it. Mm-hmm. You're going to get knocked out, not necessarily die immediately from it, which I'd say if you get hit hard enough with it, you would die immediately from just...
So, what if it... See, she survived for a little while, right?
Several hours.
Internal bleeding, probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably wasn't actually bleeding out, but was bleeding... Internally. Yeah. Could feel it, and that's what probably did the stress and was pulling the hair out. And
if you're bleeding internally, you would have like a very warm sense on the inside, possibly like a burning sensation.
Oh yeah.
So she could feel like she was burning alive, and then she was just like ripping her hair out,
Yeah.
just in the distress.
And that could be. It could come back to like, hey, I didn't want to actually. I just wanted to like knock her out, or possibly incapacitate her for a little while.
Or I mean, she could have been knocked out originally, and put in there with them for the time being after he possibly killed the rest of the family and stacked them up. And then she was laying over on the side and woke up, started freaking out because her family was dead, and he meant to take her somewhere else and possibly keep her alive because it's his own daughter.
Yeah.
And then something happened and he killed her.
Yeah.
Or she, like I said, just died because she's bleeding out
Yeah.
internally.
Yeah. If he did, say, strike her with the mattock, and it did render her unconscious, it is a very real possibility that he maybe thought she was dead and was like, well, couldn't commit to the overkill of keeping on hitting her.
Yeah, no double taps.
Because obviously if he was angry at somebody and it was a crime of passion or whatever, and he specifically wanted to kill that person, that's when you tend to see more of the overkill of the, 60 stab wounds or whatever. Obviously there's, it's a mattock in this case, but, what if he hit her, once or twice, thought she was dead, and was like, okay, I cannot hit my child anymore because, I already maybe didn't want to kill her or whatever,
Well, I could see a counter argument to that. Like, sometimes I've seen other stories where it's a man or a woman and their own child that they're trying to kill, and they completely demolish the face, so they don't. That way, they don't have to. They don't have to put the body with the face any longer because they don't want to see their own child dead, even though they want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's to just completely like separate them,
Yeah.
compartmentalize basically.
Yes, exactly.
I could see that, but it doesn't say anything about her face being destroyed or anything like that.
So do we know at all what kind of injury she had?
Other than just being attacked and her hair being ripped out.
So it doesn't go into saying like, hey, she has like gaping holes somewhere, stab wounds from the mattock.
I can actually.
Skull.
I mean, if she was hit with the pick part of the mattock,
Which I
she
think,
most likely definitely has puncture wounds.
well, she got hit by the pick part. Most of the time, the damage that you get from that would probably kill
Rip
you
you,
pretty
yeah.
fast.
So I pulled up the autopsy report for 7-year-old Kazilla Gabriel. It was conducted on April 5th, 1922, by a Dr. Joanne Baptiste Muller. I think I'm saying that correctly.
I know it's Johann.
What? That's
Johann.
Johann?
Yes, you're on.
Just letting you know if you want to start that sentence over.
That's Johann Baptiste Muller. My bad. Revealed she was the only victim who luckily remained alive for several hours after the initial attack. She survived for some time in the barn, suffering from severe head injuries, and was found with her own hair clutched in her hands, indicating immense distress. So that goes along with our theories.
Like I said, I believe that probably he came back, killed the rest of the family, and wanted to just knock his daughter out, but ended up, full swinging it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, or he thought he gave one fatal blow because she was so young.
he
And
probably
didn't realize
want
she
to-
was still
He
alive.
probably didn't want to brutalize her. He's probably
Yeah.
just like, I'm gonna take her out. But I think that the way it's done, if it's head injury like that, I think he was just probably trying to knock her out.
Most likely. Well, right
just to
here,
save his kid.
it says cause of death, a massive blow to the head. So it says a massive blow to the head. It doesn't, right up here though, it says severe head injuries. So there's multiple injuries
Well, it
that are
also
severe.
Doesn't say like shattered lower jaw and
Fatal injuries.
so like maybe
So instead of aiming for the head, hit on the side most likely. Survival time, the forensic analysis indicated she survived for several hours after being injured, potentially due to shock. Tufts of her own hair were found in her hands, suggesting she pulled it out while in pain or distress in the hay. She had gaping circular wounds to the face and neck, so that's the pick side most likely.
Yep, so that might not be what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's...
Maybe
But-
not.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Maybe probably didn't get a full good swing on it.
I mean, if it's going into the face and neck, and, I mean, full circular wounds, you're going to have to swing pretty hard to get a matic spike into the neck and face. Because, I mean, there's bones, and you're getting a full, like, circle.
You gotta think, though, if it's in a jaw, even a hard swing would have taken
That's
the
fair.
jaw off.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time, though, if he hit her hard enough to have like impaling injuries, that to me says he wasn't just trying to knock her out. Because if you were trying to knock somebody out, you'd hit them, like with fists or a friggin' 2x4 or something. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't swing a friggin' pickaxe at them.
You hit them in the back of the head.
So...
Matic.
There is some other contradicting info here, because whenever I originally done the research, I did about 2 hours of research into it, and I didn't see anything. I didn't pull up the actual autopsy report, but this says she was found with her mother, grandmother, grandfather under a door in the barn, suggesting she lived long enough to witness the aftermath or was injured later than the others. Originally, whenever I was doing research, they were all piled up on top of each other, covered in hay. This says that they were under a door.
From the coverings I heard, so the grandfather and her mom, that was where the incest was. What I always heard was, the grandfather and his daughter. Now, again, that could be wrong. I may have misunderstood it, but that's the way I always understood it, was that, and if I am wrong, no disrespect to the grandfather. If he was truly just an innocent victim, not trying to pin that on anybody. But that's how I always understood it. I could be wrong on that, but, that would make more sense with the, confirmed reportings of incest.
Right.
Because if it was like your stepdaughter, I mean, as gross as it is, because obviously she was a child, and that's disgusting. He should have been killed on the spot for that. But... that wouldn't necessarily be the incest part.
Right. Well, also, it's a little odd because it doesn't say anything about the younger brother here, the 2-year-old. That's also really odd because right here, I mean, it just says grandmother, mother, grandfather under a door in the barn, suggesting she lived long enough to witness the aftermath. But there's no younger brother here in that.
I could be misremembering this, but if I recall, there was something about the brother being in the house.
And not in the barn with the rest?
Yes, I could be wrong on that. It's been a minute since I've listened to the coverings.
Odd.
But I feel like I might be mixing cases here. But I feel like there was something about him either being in the house or maybe not being killed at all. Let me look at that real quick. Hold on. Bear with me. Okay, so I was correct on that. Joseph, because he was a baby. He was killed while sleeping in his bassinet. And then Maria, the maid, or the housekeeper, she was killed in her bedchamber.
Oh.
Yeah, so the rest of the family, they were in the barn. Well,
just because they were killed in the house doesn't mean that the others were killed in the barn. They might have been killed in the house and dragged to the barn.
Yeah, but what I was saying about that is I'm pretty sure at least Joseph was still in his
left in the house. Okay. That's an interesting twist.
The documented convictions of incest were between Andreas Gruber and Victoria Gabriel. So it was the grandfather and the mother of...
Wait, I thought Andreas was Victoria's husband. Yeah, right here it says Carl Gabriel was Victoria's husband that died in war, supposedly. So that's not Joseph's father's name. Joseph's father's name was not Joseph Sr. It was Carl, apparently.
Well, yeah, no, what I'm saying though is Victoria, which is, the little boy and girl's mom.
Yeah.
Andreas was her dad.
Oh.
That's where the incest convictions were. Because, I mean, that's on historical record and, like, investigations and stuff.
Oh, I'm getting the names mixed up.
Oh,
It's okay.
So
That's
why I
my
wanted
problem.
to look it up to make sure, because in my head I was getting it mixed up too. But, yeah, so it was, everybody kind of knew about it. Like, it had been legally documented. It was all over the town. But in May of 1915, you're fine. In May of 1915, they were both charged with incest. Andreas served a year in prison, and Victoria served 1 month.
So I got the names wrong because there's two different Casillas. The victims included the elder couple, which was Andreas and Casilla Gruber, and then their widowed daughter, which was Victoria Gabriel. Mm-hmm. And her children was Casilla and Joseph Gabriel.
So Casilla was named after her grandmother.
Okay. Right. And so Joseph's last name would not have been Gabriel.
Well, and I want to mention too, so Joseph, the baby, it was widely rumored that he was the child of Andreas from the incestuous relationship, if you want to call it that. But Victoria had claimed that the neighbor, Laurence, was the father. So that could add more controversy in that moment.
All three of them just mashed together as one theory.
Yeah.
Basically. Because, right here it doesn't say anything about the father. Mm-hmm. This whole entire story is or part of history is all kind of jumbled up. Because, with the issues of, them not record keeping very well, people just coming and stepping all over the place, them not having forensic evidence, which, it's 1920s. Mm-hmm. But, you can still do, the old-timey powder with the the feather duster type of thing with the powder with getting caught getting caught in the oils.
I was going to say, and with it being so long ago and there not being great record keeping, that could be why we're finding different things regarding different aspects,
because it's just fragments of this being written down here, this being written down here, and then somebody saying this, somebody saying that.
But I was going to say, as far as, motive and stuff, and, some of the controversy, so Laurence Schlittenbauer, the neighbor. Yeah. Of course, he was a primary suspect. But he initially claimed that Joseph was, in fact, Andreas' son. He claimed that the affair between Andreas and Victoria had continued after they had done prison time or jail time. And of course, the community had a field day with that. And, that suggests a huge potential motive for, the entire family being murdered. Because, it could have been seen as, a cleansing of kinds, by, a family annihilator or something like that,
It could have easily been somebody that did not want them in that community.
Yeah. I mean, like a lot of people said too, it could have just been a disturbed individual that found out about their convictions and decided, hey, these people don't deserve to be here anymore,
That's rough.
But I will say, now this is suspected. It's not necessarily confirmed, I don't think. But some sources did indicate that Victoria was a victim of long-term abuse and incest, by her father, as early as her being a teenager. So that's, and kind of forcing her to behave as a partner under pressure, rather than just a willing participant.
So it says here that Victoria had a sister named Sophie that was born in 1889. Victoria married Carl Gabriel, which he was a native Wadenhofen. Wadehofen? I can't pronounce that.
How do you spell it? I'll get a pronunciation.
It says ownership of the farm was transferred to the couple by her parents on that date. So the grandparents owned the property originally and gave it to her.
But didn't, and the sister didn't get it.
The sister didn't get it. So that brings a different twist into it.
That's true.
But there was never another man, apparently.
Okay,
I also
so she
got that
wasn't
wrong.
remarried.
No, she wasn't.
So she had a sister, but they gave Victoria the property.
The property.
So who knows? Maybe she came back and killed her whole family because she
maybe
was
it's
pissed off at them.
Maybe it's a pissed off little sister.
I mean, especially back then, because, you know, when you were left nothing, you were pretty much destitute. You know, there weren't really opportunities back then. Okay, we figured out how to say it. I'm just going to play it.
You gonna play it?
Yeah, I'm going to play it.
Sometime today.
Weidhofen.
Weidhofen.
Oh yeah, I forgot in German W's are pronounced with like a V sound.
Yeah.
Like
Like
Vata.
Volkswagen. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was terrible, y'all. I'm Southern, sorry. But we're trying on pronunciations. We're from the South. It's hard. Okay. We're working on it.
I'm trying to look up and see what happened.
About Germany, and my family's heavily from Germany.
Yeah. I was going to say, we're my family, we're mutts. We're from a little bit of everywhere.
I mean, same, but like my
Yeah.
I only know a few
Big
words in
portion of my family
German,
came
so
from
like
Germany.
Bratenwasser, so bread and water.
I know Danke.
That's about it.
is thank you.
Well, yeah.
That's the one I use daily.
Okay, so it says Sophie passed away prior to the murders.
Okay. Well,
So it's not
so
her.
that rules her out.
Yeah.
So we're back down to 3.
And then there were 3.
So the maid got mistaken for the sister at the time.
Okay.
So they
Because
thought
of
that
the
was
1920s of it all.
Yeah. It doesn't say what year she died though. It just says she died before the events of 1922. The maid was Maria Baumgartner. Yeah, arrived at the farm March 31st, 1922, and was escorted by her sister, the maid's sister. The maid's sister is the one that led her to the property. The sister left the farm after a short stay and was likely the last person to see the entire inhabitants alive before the murders occurred that evening. So her sister must have known the family somehow and got her the job.
Yeah, referred her to them or
So
something.
what if my sister came back and just took them all out?
Well,
Well,
there was signs in the attic of disturbed like hay in the attic that they used for like insulation, I'm assuming. Like ceiling tiles or like something that was moved so that way the person could watch the family. There was food up there that had been eaten and a few other things, and like probably like a little cot of a bed that was up there.
See, that makes me think that it's the husband that was dead from the war.
He was just sitting there
Because-
watching them.
Yeah, because maybe he came back, realized things were so much different, and was like, oh, well, I can't reveal myself yet. I'm just going to watch and see what I can find out, and then I'll go from there. You know, what if he was watching, getting all the ammo he needed, and then he saw something that just sent him over the edge, and he decided to kill everybody?
So the previous maid had quit because she thought that the house was haunted. The farmhouse was haunted. So that's why she quit, because she kept hearing things in the attic. And there was stuff being moved and food going missing, stuff like that. Well, it says here that she quit 6 months before the March 1922 murders due to her belief that the farmhouse was haunted. So basically what I wrote.
Yeah.
But it says she worked for the family from November 1920 to September 1921. So Joseph, the baby, or the 2-year-old, was born when she first started working there. The previous maid was born at the time of that, and then she quit 6 months, half a year before the murder happens.
Well, and that's the thing, too. You know, if it was, say, you know, the husband that died in war, maybe he came back, saw that his wife had this new child, and decide to hide out and watch them just to see what he could find out.
Yeah.
You know, maybe he was up there that whole time, just creeping around watching them. And
So
then maybe something was said about how Yosef came about. For example, if he was her father's child, and maybe that sent him over the edge to where he wanted to kill everybody.
so listen to this. So the previous maid's name was Kresenins. Kresenins. I think that's how you pronounce it. That's Rieger. It says, while she claimed the house was haunted, some accounts suggest she may have left due to unwelcome attention from Andreas. And get this, Rieger gave birth to a child while working there, which was adopted after it was born.
Well, that's the thing, you know, if you'll...
So if Andreas raped her,
Yeah.
got her pregnant, she had a baby while she was working there, gave it up for adoption,
I mean,
and then quit a few months later.
I mean, if he would do it to his own daughter...
He's
what
definitely
would
going to
stop
do it
him
to the
from
maid.
doing it to the maid, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially back then, I mean, unfortunately, you know, maids, servants, whatever you want to refer to them as, obviously some people treated their help very well. Some people didn't. Some people would abuse them physically, mentally, unfortunately, sexual abuse. I mean, you know, there have been so many cases of that, especially back then. You know, now stuff like that's taken a little more seriously. I don't say a lot, but, you know, compared to back then, you know,
Yeah.
it would have been something that was brushed under the rug.
Yeah, it said she came to replace her shortly before the murders. And see, like, Maria, her first day is when the murders happened. That's strange. I mean, so there's a 6-month period between the two maids working for them. One maid that has a baby, and then shortly after quits. And then 6 months later, they get a new maid, and then everybody dies.
Which, I mean, the fact that she had just started that day could have honestly been sheer coincidence.
That is a possibility, yeah. I mean...
That's the worst luck ever.
Yeah, seriously. But I mean, there's always series of unfortunate events. And sometimes things just happen, not necessarily as a coincidence. There's always some madness to the method, I guess. Or method to the madness, if you will.
Madness to the method.
Madness to the
I like
method.
that
I mean,
better.
honestly, you can use it both ways.
TM. We're going to put it on a shirt. Madness to the method.
But these weren't just names in a dusty police file. They were a family whose final days were spent in a state of growing silent terror. What connects them isn't just the farm where they lived and died, but the haunting reality that for several nights they slept under the same roof with their killer. And that's what makes the Hinterkaifeck different. Because the question isn't just who left those footprints in the snow, it's why they never felt the need to leave.
It makes me so glad we don't have a basement or an attic in our house, because that's my own personal health thinking of
There's
that.
been so many videos I've seen of people, like, they're doing renovations, they knock down a wall and find an entire room or even whole entire part of the house that they didn't even realize was part of it.
Yeah.
And there's cans of food, there's carpet, lighting in there where people have tapped into their electrical and all that, and they just never realized it for years. And I mean, there's been times where people have actually found people in their house or walked downstairs and someone's rooting through their fridge. And that's modern. So I mean,
it's horrifying.
can't imagine back then.
So that's why you stay strapped.
Yeah.
Stay strapped and get clapped.
Yeah.
TM.
But that will conclude our first pilot episode. If you want to see more or have suggestions, please comment below. Definitely like and follow us if you like the things that we're doing. We're going to cover more than just murders, of course, more than just true crime. We're going to focus a lot on like cryptids.
My favorite subject.
A lot of lore as well, not just murders, of course, but definitely unsettling stories. We're going to do a few like probably short stories and stuff that we find around on the internet, not necessarily stuff that's, you know, gonna have evidence to it. Probably some stuff off of Reddit.
We're going to try to stay as factual as we possibly can, and of course, if there's ever, you know, anything that we do get wrong, feel free to let us know in the comments what, you know, what was misportrayed, you know, because we want to know the facts too. leave case suggestions, leave lore suggestions, cryptids, what have you. Just, leave it in the comments and we will try to get to it and cover it.
Especially anything that's like small town, local around you. We'd rather focus on some small town stuff than like ones that are huge. Like obviously Bigfoot's very big.
Bigfoot do be big. Yeah.
Yeah. But we want to focus on the small ones, stuff that's very niche, not really talked about. That's what we're really focusing on.
Your local legends that, the old people at the gas station talk about, the ones that aren't as publicized that, maybe you just know around here.
Like a good old Wampus cat.
We love a Wampus cat.
Skin Tom.
Yeah.
Lord, that one freaks me out. But yeah. But anyway, thank you again for joining us. And, leave us suggestions and we will see you next time.
And this has been The Orchard of Bones.